Hello and welcome to the Transpennine route upgrade, or at least my version of it, because yes, I am crouched on phase one with my head nearly touching the ceiling. Actually, I've not worked on phase one for some time, but yes, most of you will know, regularly watch my videos, that I am pulling up about 20 meters of the track here, which I was never happy with, and I am on with, doing exactly that, pulling the rest of it up and then relaying it, which shouldn't take too long because there's no points or anything. So I've given myself till the end of the month to complete that task. And then we are going to get onto some really interesting stuff. So last Sunday, I went to Tim Horn Baseboards, picked up the coal unloading facility shell, which Tim had made, just a plywood shell. And it sat on my workbench for Monday and Tuesday of this week, staring at me. And I looked at it and I thought, I fell into temptation, to be honest, and I have, basically transformed that shell into, just about the finished product. So I'm going to take you through that and show you what I've done. We're also going to look at the update of what I've been doing with all the traction, the locomotives, which I've been repainting a lot of them into EWS. What else are we doing? We're going to look at technical problems with HS3 Station, because with this layout being so big, there's so many different things, the problems that rear their head almost on a daily basis, that you've just got to write down and find ways round and then tick them off gradually. But anyway, that is enough of the intro. Far too long. Let's crack on and get on with the video. So yes, welcome to the EWS factory, where I have been doing a lot of work, usually in the evenings, just painting or repainting rather 56s and 60s in the old maroon and gold with, I've got to say, some variable results. This one, for example, I put a bit too much paint on, using a different airbrush from what I usually use, but I think a bit of judicious weathering will kind of settle that down. We've got Charles Francis brush there, which I talked about in a previous video. Whoops, another class 47, the only class 47, which is going to be Ribblehead Viaduct. And this one, as some of you will know, will right into your locos. The 47-7s had quite a few modifications, and I'm going to be doing those just really for me, not for anybody else, because I wouldn't want to see a loco that's on the layout that really is wrong, so to speak. So I will be making a few mods to that one. What else have we got before I show you a bit of a disaster? Let's have a look. I've been painting these two of the 60s. This one's awaiting the gold stripe. I probably should have put the gold stripe on before the maroon paint, but weathering covers up a multitude of sins. But yes, as I just alluded to, I had a bit of a disaster earlier this week, and this happened. I warped a body shell, would you believe? I've got a little paint spray booth next door and a little fan heater, and I put this a little bit close to the fan with predictable results, but you should have heard the air turn blue, same colour as this body shell, when I came across this. So I have had to spend another 80 quid on, where is it? Another body shell, excuse me, 1 second. This one came from Olivia Trains, and I was going to, Olivia's Trains, and I was going to just paint this into EWS as well. But you know what? I like that livery so much. I think I'm going to leave it and just, it works. It's in the era, the early 2000s era, which, as I've said many times, is going to be the era modelled when all these go out to the public, or when this railway layout goes out to the public next year. But I really like that livery. So I think I'm going to replace the stick-on nameplates with the real cast version, and just put all the parts I'll take off the warped version and put it onto this, and I'll probably have this on the layout, I think. So there we go. Just shows if you use a little fan heater to speed things up, don't put it too close to your body shells. There's one 56 colas livery which I'm still on with, but I kind of do this for a couple of hours, sometimes in an evening, just to make a break from doing the usual stuff. So yeah, there we go. Yep, I know what you're thinking. What a mess. But actually, it looks a lot worse than what you think because all I've got to do here is simply lay the new plywood base, which is, by the way, what I've decided to do. So just elaborating on that, I'm just using 3mm ply, which Tim has kindly cut for me again. And I'm just going to put that over this surface. I've sanded this one already, and I've got the others to do all the way down there. But yeah, the old track, which was hand built, is going to be staying there because obviously that's really, really good. When I started track laying, I made a complete mess of it. Although it looked all right, I've said it before, the ballast underneath was not good at all. So I'm replacing all the track and all the ballast. So the plywood here is going to be screwed down just using really thin screws. The new concrete track and the ballast will be put over it. And I reckon it's going to probably take me 2 weeks to finish this because there's no points to lay. It's simply straight track. So yeah, a bit of an update on phase one. Okay, a quick update on HS3 because I ran immediately into technical issues, which I thought I would. Just by the way, actually, I do use these lasers quite a lot because they're great for aligning track. Can't remember how much this cost. I think it was about 50 quid from B&Q, but it's great because it casts, well, obviously a laser beam. And if you're doing straight track, it's absolutely superb, especially the long lengths, which I have to go to. So I do use that a lot. Anyway, the issue that I found was one that I thought I would come across, and we've talked about this in previous videos. And I could not get this track to come from the station and across these lines, which are at a 45-degree angle, without using a myriad of different pillars and supports. And it just, no, I couldn't make it work, to be honest. It just looks bitty. So in the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one of those flyover concrete tunnels, or should I correct myself, Tim Horn is kindly going to make me the sides and the roof of a flyover concrete tunnel, the drawing of which I've done here. So I sent this off to Tim about an hour ago, bless him, and I'm sure he'll be on with that. So as you can see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the sides, they're actually 146 millimeters high, so the 9mm thick ply which lies on top will exactly align with the station. And Tim's going to make the concrete blocks kind of laser cut the sides to make it appear that they're concrete. And there's going to be 3 of those. So there's going to be 1 at each side, obviously. This is the roof. And there's going to be 1 in the middle just here. And I'm hoping I can use those tunnel mouths, which you've seen on a previous video, just to basically kind of cap off, if you like, the 2 tracks here, and then I won't have a tunnel mouth on all the others because all these tracks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, 6, 7, will be covered by this concrete flyover tunnel for about 6 foot. So I think, to be fair, it'll probably introduce a bit of interest, but I've no choice because I laid the obviously this track here has all been laid before I even thought of HS3, which came along a bit later. Otherwise, I would have incorporated it. And there's no way I'm realigning all this to give room for pillars. So, a couple of weeks' time, I'll be picking up those the concrete flyover, making that, and then we can progress onto the route of HS3, which is going to run in that gap all the way down there. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. In fact, I don't even have to wait for Tim to do that because I can crack on with just putting the track on the actual track base itself, and then the pillars are just going to sit on top of the baseboard all the way down. I think about 38 meters altogether. So yeah, you imagine, I keep imagining a 60 on like a Drax biomass train running at maybe scale 30 miles an hour coming towards you, and you'll be able to see the lights of that a good 35 meters away, and it probably take about a minute and a half to get to you, which will look good, because although this HS3 is going to support many a high-speed train, there is going to be a bit of freight on it as well as a couple of steam specials and a Deltic and a Western, both pulling Mark 1s or Pullman coaches on specials. So it just introduces a bit of variety. So yeah, update on that, a bit more next week. So remember in the introduction how I showed you a picture of this? Well, 1.5 days later, it is this. And I've got to say, this has turned out better than what I expected. I'm going to go through exactly how I built it and what details I've added to it, because some of you might find it useful if you're going to be building something similar in whatever gauge you're modeling. But basically, it's just a basic bare plywood shell, which Tim Horn did for me from Tim Horn Baseboards, from drawings that I did of the real thing. And what I did was, I thought instead of using just plain glazing, I'd use the glazing from Hellion's Shirebrook engine shed, or what is based on Shirebrook engine shed, because I liked their glazing. So Tim laser cut me the holes which these glass sheets just nicely fit into. So yeah, really, really pleased with how this has gone. In case you're wondering, the corrugated iron, or what's meant to be corrugated iron here, is actually cardboard. Now, I got a roll of this, here we go, or a couple of rolls of this, from Steve Smith at Railway Laser Lines. I forgot to ask him actually where he got it from, but it's really good stuff. I'm sure there's other sources for this in whatever gauge, but it really, really looks good, I think. And as you can see, I've just weathered it from photos of the real thing just by putting some airbrushing some dirty black paint down the sides. Now, I'll point out the bits which are actually 3D printed. Obviously, the aircon units are 3D printed. The ladders are 3D printed because I couldn't find anything that was good enough in O gauge. These roof ventilators, again, 3D printed. But the actual lights here are from Westhill Wagon Works, which, retail them in O gauge. So I bought 3 of those. And if we pop round to the front, excuse the shadows, you can see that these lights here are 3D printed. They're working lights, again, similar to the prototype. And I also spent about 3 hours building the walkway, which again, I'll just spin round, excuse me. So we've got the walkway. Now the walkways themselves are 3D printed. And actually a guy in the States did these for me, so thanks ever so much. They're really, really good and fit really well inside this building. And then just from styrene or Plastruct, I've made the girders, and then I've super glued everything to a bit of brass sheet horizontal thin brass sheet just to give it a bit of stability. So that, obviously, I'll try and do two things at once, but that obviously goes inside like so. Let's just try and stick it in. And if you can think on, this will have men in high-vis vests, because these walkways were, actually to show, sorry, let me start again. These walkways were actually for high-vis, guys in high-vis to walk along and look inside the MGR hopper wagons, or the HAAs. So obviously they were looking inside these just to make sure everything was okay. And as you can see, that looks really good through those windows. Now, I have it on good authority that a lot of these windows and the real thing, the glazing, was absolutely black. And given it's a coal and loading facility, yeah, that makes sense. But I am going to keep them fairly clean just so you can see through them, because I do want the public or anybody to be able to see straight through these this glazing. But yeah, I'm so pleased at how this has turned out. So the brickwork, well, it was actually laser cut, the actual pattern of the bricks, as you can see, but I've used Precision Paint's dark red brick, and all I've done is I've airbrushed that, and then I've just gone over it with a microfiber cloth, which I put on some cream kind of emulsion paint. So I wiped it over the top of the red brick, and then I wiped it straight off again, and that's how you get that mortar effect, or the kind of worn appearance of red brick. So yeah, there we go. Aircon units again, they're 3D printed items. Now the roof, I actually started with doing this with sanding sheets, but I didn't like the joins. The texture was good, but I didn't like the joins. So what I did in the end was I cut some 2mm card, I think it was 1 or 2mm card, to shape. I glued that in with PVA, and then I sprayed it with dirty black paint from Precision Paints, which I use a lot. And as the paint was drying, I sprinkled on the talcum powder, which I have a bottle of it there. So the talcum powder added to the wet paint just gives it that really nice texture. And as you can see, some of the talc didn't actually, well, it's not actually dried. It's not been swallowed up, so to speak, by the paint. But I've actually just left it because I think all that kind of adds to the appearance of a mottled, dirty roof, which has seen much better days. So yeah, I'm gonna just leave that as it is. The roof vents need a bit of weathering, but they're okay. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that. I know I keep repeating myself saying it, but that's come out much better than I expected. Of course, if we nip in, can't really get the camera low enough, but you can see where the tracks are going to run, and there's going to be another walkway at the other side. And yeah, this should look really, really good. And you can see the scale when you compare it to there's a 60 there, of course, and a 58. Let's just scoot round again. We've got a 60 there and a 58, and you can see just how big these buildings were. And if you think these are big, goodness me, look at how big power station buildings are. So yeah, there we go. Now I must show you this too, which was built for me by Stu Hilton, stubby47.com, and he built this. It's a railway laser lines kit in O gauge, and as you can see, that stretches right across. Clearly I've got to make the supports and everything else, but it's not actually prototypical for the area of West Yorkshire, but I'm not bothered because it's such a great kit, and it just looks like brass to me, but it's actually, of course, it's ply. And once this is lit, I'm going to put a few little LEDs in this. Once this is lit and the stairs are connected, this is going to be the walkway across the marshalling yard for the workers to come and work in the coal unloading facility. So yeah, there we go. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a sound file and a speaker inside this, and all the industrial buildings are going to have this, whereby this is going to sound, it's going to have a hum coming from it and all sorts of other clangs and bangs, especially as these big MGR trains go through at crawling pace. So I'm really hoping that I can kind of, I don't know, recreate what has been lost kind of 20 years ago, and just make it so it's we're back in the present again. It'd be great just to put yourself back there. But yeah, there we go. Hope you like the coal unloading facility. So that's about it for this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed it, and please like and subscribe as ever. Just looking in the camera, you can see that unloading facility that we were just talking about right behind me. It just never ceases to amaze me how big and intricate those buildings were. But anyway, I haven't forgot about the landscaping that we were doing last week. We're going to be continuing that in the next video because we're getting a bit short of time. So anyway, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.